So welcome to week 9. We have only 2 more weeks to go of the new Boss Babe Academy, and you should be feeling confident, equipped, really across the System 7, and with like you're channeling a new attitude towards your business, one of being really professional and across everything that you need to do. So we've covered really all of System 7, setting goals, creating your contact list, inviting, presenting, how to follow up, how to get people started. And you should feel like you've got the tools and the little itty bitty details, like you've got enough to do it. And really it is very basic and it is very simple, and you'll see today why it is important to have it all in a simple package. So our topic for today is driving the lines, and if you've not heard that before, that's okay. We're going to go into it and explain why this is the most important thing to you finding your freedom. And just remembering why we're doing this. Our mission is to empower you as a heart-driven person to make a difference as quickly as possible for as many people, and that's by learning the skills and the attitudes and the mindset of a new boss babe, and crafting your work-life balance. So just making your work around your life, and if you're doing that and you're really enjoying what you're doing, you're not going to have a problem with sharing it, because our mission, remember, it's always about empowering people to improve their lives. So as we build this system, which runs on this kind of franchise model, if we miss any part of this step, we're going to end up with soggy chips, as we say. As we're doing this properly, we're going to set in motion a system that can create a lot of executives and create long-term residual income. So what are we going to cover this week? It's week 9, driving the lines. Where is the money in our compensation plan? Having systems, going 6 levels deep, and I'm going to share with you a bit of a shocking story and the key that can unlock this for you. We're going to talk a little bit about diagramming your team, getting visual on it, drawing it out. And Veronica, as a blue diamond on the call, is going to talk about lockers, lighting a fire, and knowing where the money is in your team, how to make $10,000 a month. And Sam's going to share with us her story as well, how she diagrammed her team, how it was actually this system of driving lines that made her take action when she wasn't going to. And inside this, I'm going to insert some slides from Jeffrey Lee, as I said, which are going to help you keep, for some new people, it's going to be like just an introduction of, oh, really? Is that where it's at? And for people that are more established, it will be like, oh, okay, that's where we need to be focusing on. So in preparation for this, I have to thank Nathan Ricks, who has a presentation that's 2 hours long, which I encourage you to watch on YouTube. It's really good, and he puts into a line why we need to be doing this. But the one thing I feel like we have that he doesn't really talk about is our mission and why we do what we do. Our mission is about empowering people to improve lives. And if you take that away, and I'm sure that Nathan's got it, but he just doesn't say it explicitly. But if you don't share with people that our mission is to empower people to improve lives, it can seem that it's all about the money, and it feels cold and hard. And define what driving lines is. Driving lines is helping your new people start new people. It's going through their contacts and working down deep, because the money is actually in the depth of your organization. So just quickly, here we've got a graphic of the published average monthly incomes, and you're all aware that executive and gold is a lot less than a team elite. Where does that come from? It actually comes from the exponential growth that comes as you go deep in an organization. So Nu Skin pays us up to 6 levels of executives deep. Now, I didn't appreciate how cool that was until I realized that most network marketing companies will pay you at 3 levels and then they cut you off. So this is a closed call, but for example, I found out recently that Unique, which a lot of people promote online, pays you 3 levels deep, and a very good friend who was an amazing leader has had people 5, 6, 7 levels deep that she wasn't being paid anything on at all, and she was calculating exactly how much she was losing and was quite upset. She's actually left and is doing something else, but I was like, wow, we really need to treasure what we've got, because it is, Nu Skin's mission is to be the highest paying direct sales company listed on the New York Stock Exchange, paying more income to its distributors than any other organization out there. I know, for example, Amway only pay 3 levels deep, and they only pay, I think it's 5%, 3%, and then 1% on your 3rd level. So ridiculously little. Herbalife pay 3 levels. So just appreciate, look at these numbers. You're earning 4,000 on this level averagely. Once you unlock your deeper levels, there's a lot more potential to earn an income. Why is that? Now, this is in our Getting Started training book. If you want to refer to it on page 36, if you need a breakdown permanently, it's there. I'll also include the slides, but it breaks it down. So on your 1st level as a blue diamond, if you have 12 frontline executives and they each do their minimum of 3,000 points, if you're getting paid 5% commission on that at 1.2%, this is the conversion rate from US dollars to Australian commission. So that's something very clever that Nu Skin do, so that you can be paid in Australian commission. Your commission as a blue diamond at the very minimum is actually quite low. This is called a pancake diamond. It's $2,160. You're like, hang on a minute, that doesn't sound right. But you go 2 levels deep, and this is just by doubling it. Now, the truth is that when you start someone new, one person, if they find 2, some find 2, some find 12, some find none. That's the law of averages. But if we work it out, if each and every single person that you started here just told 2 people and they got started as executives, you'd be on 4,000. If they just told 2 people, it jumps up. If they just told 2 people, look how the numbers are jumping. And it just basically, this maps out how your organization would pay you if every executive you started just became a lapis. So you had no diamonds or blue diamonds in your downline. You'd be on 69,000. No, sorry. You'd be on over 100,000 a month. But look where most of the money comes from. Oh, it's on that 6th level. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you can see where the money's coming from. So if you add all of that up, so you'd be being paid all of that. That's 1.63 million per year. Would that change your life? Yeah.
No, that's good.
Hell yeah.
If you were in Amway, for example, or just another company that paid you only 3 levels deep, the max you'd be earning there would be 14,000 compared to 136,000 with the same amount of effort, because your team is still going to happen down here. Would that be cool? Now, that's why you need to have a system, because you cannot possibly think to take care of the number of people that are in your organization one-on-one. Does that make sense? You're not going to be able to give them individualized attention, but if you've got a system to take care of them and everyone's doing the same thing of the system, you'll be able to have success. So, okay. now very, very quickly, and then I'm going to hand it over because I've spoken enough already, but I'm going to tell you a story that will help you get better results. So yesterday we went shopping for a vacuum cleaner and a mop, and we went to Godfrey's, and I'd had great service there before, and I actually really wanted to see the same guy. This new girl started, she had purple hair and tattoos, and she was really kind of slang talking, and not very, like, her posture wasn't right. She just didn't look interested or educated or switched on in any way. And she failed to do what we spoke about last week in the immediate yes formula. She failed to build any rapport with me. She didn't find out what I needed these machines for. She just went straight into presenting and pushing me into what she thought that I needed. And I noticed that everything that she told me, I went with the opposite choice. She recommended a mop, and I went, what about this one over here? She recommended a vacuum cleaner, and I went to the other side of the shop, not on purpose, but because I was driven to. I was completely irritated by her recommendations, even though I desperately, like, it was my mission and my goal to not go home without a mop or a vacuum cleaner. So I was like a ready buyer, and she completely turned me off and lost any chance of sale. We went over to the Good Guys and just bought something without being served. But what that made me realize is that when we're getting people started, we know that it is best for them to hand over their contact list and for us to help them find their top 5 people. You know, we know that that's in the Getting Started program. We know getting them started with 5 presentations to their most influential people is the very best thing that they can do. But they will resist it and find every other excuse if we don't have their trust, and if we don't have their why, and they don't feel like we understand them. They don't care what you know until they believe that you actually feel them. You know, it's that they don't care what you know until they know that you care, but they also need to trust you and believe that what you're going to do is the right thing, that they're not going to hand over their contacts to you and you're going to call them up and completely embarrass them. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So if you find that people are dragging their feet, stalling, telling you that they've got excuses, just go back to the build, fine, present. And that might just be in a group situation again. So I'm going to hand over to the lovely Veronica. These are some notes that I made from listening to Nathan Riggs. But you can take it away, Veronica, because you've got so much wisdom in this area.
So you wanted me to talk about that, actually driving the lines, yeah? And what does that mean, and where are you working? So I always talk to people and say, you know, I'm always working, you're always working at the pointy end. So I'm always sort of thinking of, you know, when you draw your diagram and you're at the top, and then you have your front line, and then who's underneath them, who's underneath them, who's underneath them. You're working at the bottom, because that's the bottom thing. That's where you're driving. You're the one and driving requires energy, and it requires focus, and it requires, you know, you're on a mission basically to get beneath the new person, then get beneath that new one, and then get beneath that new one. Because by doing that, you lock them in. They've got, they can see that it's growing. They can see that, you know, they're developing a team. And in that process, you're actually finding the person who is going to be the leader. You know, your leaders are not always on your front line. If they are, then you're really fortunate. But sometimes you need to go into, you know, you'll introduce somebody to the business, and you'll know that they probably won't take it on to where, you know, to be a leader, but they will lead you to other people. And so your mission is to get there, you know, as Catherine said, get in front of their people as fast as you can, because you don't know how long that little window of excitement is going to last. And so you're working with them, you've got their list, and then you're getting in front of people. And then when you're finding someone else to getting them started, getting into their list. And so moving down and down and down until you find that person who's, very often, they say that your best people are 5 levels deep. And I talked to Graham Park, a lot of the money from his organisation will come 5 levels deep. So, it's hugely in your interest to drive the lines, because that's what's going to give your business stability. If you've just got a pancake organisation, then when one exec falls off, that's it. But if you've got depth in a line and you've got an exec that, has challenges in their life, or for one reason or another that they can't control and they can't maintain their business for a while, if they happen to drop, it doesn't really matter for your stability, because the one beneath them is going to roll up, and then the one beneath them is going to roll up. And, someone like Karen Millers, she was probably about 6 levels down below, Rick Old, and now she's rolled up to be on his front line. So you never know who is going to be that leader in depth. And when you're talking about that locker, that's the person when one of the notes there was, you light a fire, and if you want to set a building on fire, you don't sort of put the fire in the top story. The best place to put it is down the bottom, and then the flames, as they're going to head up right through the whole building and set the whole lot on fire. So as you find a locker, somebody who's really sees this business and wants to move in depth, and you build with them, they go into LOI, you get on the phone and you tell the person above them, hey, this guy's really moving. I think you need to put in your LOI and, pull your finger out if you don't want to lose them. So, let's get them moving. And then you go above them. Okay, this is what's happening down here. Do you want to get into action so that you don't miss out? And so on. So you're working from the bottom, back up, and igniting everyone and creating a whole lot of energy in that leg. And so that's why, they're calling them a locker, because they're locking people in. Nobody wants to miss out. That fear of loss is a huge driver. If you think that you've got a blue diamond in one of your legs, there is no way that you're ever going to quit this business, because that, as they say, that leg can be worth $20,000 to you or more. So you basically, so what else was on my list that I was meant to talk to? So I haven't seen this little diagram here, but it looks pretty complicated.
It basically just shows that, if you go and find a locker, they're down, say, 6 or 7 levels deep. Exactly what, as you said, all of these people had no intention of really doing anything. But as they've had the fire lit underneath them, they go, oh, I better push that LOI button. I better, make sure I do my minimum to qualify. I better just keep my finger in and become executive. And then these all become executives just because this person's gone crazy.
Yeah.
So, and that's your best case scenario. Worst case is that they roll up and that person just rolls up to you, and that's fine. They roll up to your front line. And you can do it fast. Other people can do it fast, but so Jeffrey Lee was just showing in his situation how all of these people just dropped off. But if he hadn't driven the lines with them and hadn't helped them along the way, and of course they would be happy with the products that they're using, they would be happy with whatever part of the culture and experience that they took from Nu Skin, and for whatever reason they're no longer part of it. But these people that are all green have rolled up to him in a big way, and they're like team elites now and all sorts of things. So he just shows here, like Graham Park was someone that wasn't sponsored by him, and he's got these power lines happening because he drove the lines.
Well, I had it happen to me, and that was Roberta. She was coming in and telling me about the business, and I wasn't really that interested. Although I was a little bit, but as soon as she was very smart, and she was saying to me, well, give me your referrals. And one of them was Pam Sweeney. So she was, being the referring upline and trying to work with my people, because she could see that she wasn't moving too fast with me in that first 6 to 8 weeks. So she said to Pam, let's go for a coffee and I can tell you a little bit about it. after Pam had her demo, and she told Pam about the business, and I didn't even want to go for coffee because I really wasn't that interested in the business. And then she rang me and she said, if you want to get in now is the time to get in because Pam's actually going to do the business. And I was just like, I went home that night and I thought, wow. And Pam had been in Avon before. So Roberta sort of was very smart at driving those lines, and that's why it's so important to work with your people's people and getting in with them, because that's what got me into the business. And Pam stayed in my business for a couple of years, so we all profited from it. But yeah, I really, really relate to that story, how driving the lines works, because if it wasn't for Pam, I don't know if I would have seen that or got that, I better get in. So yeah, it really is important.
Cool.
Or it could have been a lot later anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, did you want me to do, are you going to go into the next bit, Catherine, or did you want me to do my?
Yeah, how about you go, because we're kind of on time, just about being that person, because that was your topic.
And
so
then
one thing
back to how you make the $10,000 a month at the end.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So when we had our call last night, we were talking about the driving the lines, and I just said it's so important to we talk about Alan Nagel and how he's one of the most successful business builders as well, and he always when he's with a new person, he'll say, okay, great, who do you know? But you've also got to look at like building a trust with everyone, and all of the things that we've been talking about on this call, because if you just go in for the jugular and just say, okay, give me your people, they don't know you. So just be aware of building the rapport and putting all of the systems into place. I had my training call with my team this morning, and it was great because it was really relevant to this call. And that was Nadia and Jane had on Saturday morning, a lady was actually going to return the spa she bought in November at the Mind Body Spirit Festival. She's not using it, and she just, it just scared her. You know how people put it in the box in the corner of the room. And so I invited her to Nadia's house on Saturday morning, and she came in sort of with her arms crossed and, I'm going to return this spa. And she just, Nadia, I asked her to talk to the team, and what she did, it was just perfect. She just got to meet the lady, had a coffee with her, put some biscuits out, all that sort of thing. And she didn't even bring up Nu Skin. She didn't bring up the product. She just built that rapport with her and made the lady feel really comfortable, and then showed her, the horses, because she said, oh, have you got horses? So they went outside and they looked at it. And anyway, it was 6 hours later. This lady just totally loved Nadia and Jane. She said the body language just completely changed. She bought an ageLOC Me Weiss fan. She wanted to know why Nadia's score was 102,000, and when she first started it was 30,000. She wanted to be like Nadia. And I was just like, wow, there you go, bang, that's it. And she's going to meet Karen Millers and wants to do the business. So that is just the biggest, one of the biggest stories that I thought I could share on this. It was exactly what I wanted to talk about, and that is get yourself to be a 7 out of 10, no matter what day it is. That's what people are going to want to join. And then when they see you and that you're genuine, that you're loyal, you're not there to flog them product, you're really, really caring about them and what they want. And if they don't want to, regardless of the outcome, it doesn't matter. Then, you might see them 5 times down the track, but that's when they're going to want to give you their contacts. That's when they're going to want to align with you and trust you and bring their people to you. So, that's one of my biggest tips. And another thing I wanted to share, and I wanted to go out today and buy the Post-it notes, because after being on the call last night too, it brought up a memory for me when I lived in a house 7 years ago, when I got to Blue Diamond. What I did was driving the lines. I I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to go out and get the Post-it notes tomorrow and do it again. I got all the different colours, and I'll show you here. So say that's me. And I'm very visionary, so I have a big wall, if anyone's seen my wall. So I had it on another wall, and I have me. And then you can put a picture of yourself even if you wanted to. And then in another colour, I have my team. And if you haven't got a team yet, you can just put lucky or, you know, someone that you think or someone that you – so in another colour, you have your 4 people. Most people start with 4, right, because they want to get to Ruby and they want the trip. So have your 4 people and just put them there and, you know, put even in a room that you wake up and you see them. And then underneath, when your team starts to grow, you have another colour. So this is where the bottom of your wall is going to be like it's going to be like a big pyramid, which is not what we are, but it's going to be like this. So you might have to change it all the time. And I absolutely love doing this when I was building my team because you start to put these up, they will fall off though. So get some glue tack as well, because you'll wake up and you'll just see a few people on the floor. So you just want to pick them up, put them up there. And it's really good too when you have your you know, it's probably a bit personal, like you don't want to share it with your team, but when your family walk in, my kids loved it. They used to go, oh, you haven't put another one up for a while, Mum, you know. And so these are like your little army of people. So I'm going to do it again and grow my wall. I absolutely love it. And yeah, you can just watch your people, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's good to get visual on it. That's what I'm getting. Yeah. A lot of leaders actually actively drawing it out. So.
Yeah, and what we're saying about lockers, see how that one, like if you've got a locker there, just highlight her, put a gold star there, like do whatever you want, make it really fun.
That's cool. And that's where you spend your energy. You spend your energy with those that are working rather than trying to like motivate and push people that don't get it. You just keep going. Nathan Ritz,
absolutely.
He said you just don't have time to like, you know, resuscitate those people every day. He said if he hears a nasally voice like, oh, this is so hard, he's just like, click, beep, beep, beep. I'll
get back to you. You go back and rest.
Yeah. That's it. So, Veronica, we were talking about 10,000 a month. Jeffrey Lee actually had these sums done. They're not that far off. Do you want to break it down, or have you got your own? You're muted. Hang on, unmute. Gotcha. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so how do you make this kind of money? I think when we all start, we all dream of $10,000 a month. It's a little bit like wow, I've made it if I get to that level. And I think when you come in, you just got no idea how the money works and how on earth to work out the figures. You just trust that somehow it's going to get there. But it's actually relatively easy to work it out. And so he's got here $15,000 a month. I know for 10,000 a month, if you get to 64 execs, you've basically done about 11. So if we look at these figures here, so you're starting with you and you get to Ruby, and then you help those 4 people get to Ruby. So that power of 4, and 4 is such an easy number to visualize and to work with, and it's very doable and very believable. You start talking about 12 and people sort of just about, die of exhaustion before they've even started. But if you focus on 4, you know that you can get there. So you get 4 and then they all get 4, you've got 16, they all get 4 and you've got 64. And at that stage, you're basically making a lot of money. So how does that happen? So with 100 execs, doing 3,000 GSV. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out how he's doing this.
It was 3,000.
5%, 15,000. Okay.
That's US
I don't
dollars.
Get those figures work. I'm dreadful at maths, so you to put me.
That'd probably be about right, because we do it with 64
Where's that other slide of Karen's? It's not as pretty as this one, but at least it makes a bit more sense.
Was it this one?
64.
Just no, and go down. Next one, I think. No, the next one.
Right. Yeah, this is it. How do I make money? If you wish, there we go.
Yeah.
I had it. If you wish to make 10,000 residually, then you need to have 200,000 points a month.
Yeah. So basically, if you've got every executive, so this is the power of 3,000 points. We're always talking 3,000 points because that's where you start to make money. So 3,000 points and you've got 64 execs, then you're going to have these figures. You don't have to do them all yourself. You've got your 4 and then they get 4 and they get 4 and you've got 64. So 64 times 3,000 times 5% times 1.2, which is our currency converter, and you're onto 11,500 a month. So you've even got more than the 10,000 we were aiming for. So it allows you to sort of work it back, doesn't it? We just have to focus on, leading the way, getting to Ruby, and then showing everyone else how they can do it, and really driving those lines and driving them. You can be earning far more as a successful Ruby than as a pancake blue diamond, as you've seen. So, yes, that's why they say, wide for show and deep for dough. You may have the pin title, but you may be being paid a whole lot less than somebody who has a much healthier business, but, at a lower pin title, who's just got a lot more depth in there.
Yeah, so that's really cool. Thank you, Veronica. I just wanted to highlight this because I have had people, even you hear it around the place, that they don't want to work with people outside their circle group because they think, I need to make my points and you're already executive, so I'm not going to help you, or you're under someone else. And for example, Lou, she's a gun. She's out there planning workshops, doing presentations. She's like, there's another Lapis executive in between me and her, and yet I love working with her because she's where the energy is at, and she's always finding, new ways to channel it. And I would be cutting everyone short if I didn't put the energy into her. So you can see how it rolls up. Someone also said that when you work even beyond your 6th level, that's called income protection, because you're locking in your levels as well, because Nathan Riggs talks about a time where it becomes harder to leave than it is to stay. And when you've got a healthy team under you that are taking action, having fun, their life's improving, it is it's harder to leave. It's easier to stay than it is to go. And we want to create that situation for everyone in our team, but it takes being a leader, being clear, having a system, because what do you do when people come to you with problems, and when people come to you with too many ideas, or let's do it like this, or let's do it like that? Well, does it actually fit System 7? Are we keeping it simple? And he really does talk about doing the boring things, like, have you told your team about the compensation plan? Have you explained to them the getting started packet? It's over and over and over again, but that's where the quality control comes in. That's where the certainty of your business comes from, is repeating those small, simple disciplines to the same pattern. So, and what you will find is that not everyone's going to duplicate with the same excitement, but you will find power lines, and those are lines that run up to 10 executives deep with blue diamonds all the way, just because one person really gets it. So keep going, and if you need any encouragement, just watch and see what people are doing. If people are actually taking action, work with those people. So that was the most important thing to learn from, and just knowing a little bit about the compensation plan. So the pigeonhole technique, making sure that when you do ask people for their contacts, and they are ready to go, asking them about their most influential people. So I only got this afternoon, but I thought this was priceless. When someone new starts, you pigeonhole people and you say, okay, out of your family, who's the first, best, most influential person that you have, who's really successful at business, who's got a great community network, who volunteers, who's well known and established. So you go through and go with the most influential people first, and then with your friends, who do you both know? So you go with the best first, and then who do you both know? And work through those networks, because people don't like to miss out. And if they've got two friends that are doing the same thing, they'll go with them. It's way more influential. So it's all about teamwork, working together, edifying each other, and following the system. And remember that winners never quit and quitters never win. So keep digging down, and you can do it. But this is a business, so we need to keep it simple. Don't reinvent the wheel. Invite, present, sponsor, and train. So after all that, so homework for the week is go back and diagram your organization. Even if you are brand new, it might be diagramming who you need to approach, and then being willing for your upline to help you expose people to the system. If you're growing just a simple team, working with your first person on who their contacts are, and looking at opportunities, just brainstorming, writing it out, and being intentional and visualizing that not only are you going to have 12 on your front line, but you are going to have a system where people can contact you and access the information that we have. And one, I guess, sanity principle is have that mindset of leverage, so that you're not doing the little itty bitty things yourself, like finding out product information, that you're using the call center to do those things, that you're introducing people to their account managers, that you're getting the right people to do the right jobs in Nu Skin, because we have all of those resources. We don't have to be the product expert. We don't have to be product support. We don't do product returns. We are leaders of leaders, and that's where the company pays us for action. They pay their call center staff for doing things like returns or orders or little menial stuff. Make sure that you obviously make a friendly connection with those people and help your customers solve those problems where they can, but you do a 3-way call and then leave them talking with the call center, rather than spending all of your time processing things that you're not going to get paid for. So with that, homework for the week: diagram your organization and visualize it going 6 levels deep, and see how deep you can go. How many down can you get? And work with your upline to troubleshoot if people aren't willing to hand over their referrals. Where do you think?